All right, so I wanted to show you guys this slide. False belief, how to break a false belief. The biggest thing you guys are probably running to on doorsteps or closing solar deals or anything has everything to do with that thing right there. Let me give you an example. Somebody has an experience. After they have the experience, I like thinking of it as a forge because that metal gets smacked into a shape. What happens is people end up with a lot of false beliefs. Here's an example. There was a time when somebody used to think the world was flat. Doesn't make it true. What it means is it was a false belief. There was a time that people thought eating fat was bad. Oh, we're gonna do a low fat diet, low fat yogurt. Dude, if you want to ruin your testosterone and like be a girl, stop eating fat. Have you guys ever heard of this guy called the Iron Cowboy? So the Iron Cowboy, he set a world record by doing 50 Ironmans in 1 year. And then his doctor said that his body was physically not capable of doing 1 Ironman a day for the next 100 days straight. In 2021, he did it and he broke the record. People keep thinking that there's all these doctors, all these people have all these false beliefs. And so when you're out there dealing with people or selling with people, they're just packed full of them. And so you see it, like you knock on the door, it's like, oh yeah, solar doesn't make sense for me. Okay, that's probably a false belief, right? Solar doesn't save me money. That's probably a false belief. Every excuse why somebody probably doesn't buy is probably just a false belief. And so then our job is to figure out, how do I identify that false belief, and then how do I destroy it? But what helps is if you understand where it came from. So you got to understand where they come from, and then as soon as you understand where they come from, then you can figure out how to crush them. So how many of you guys been with me when I said when we're closing deals, it's like I'm heat treating steel and I'm smacking it a shape. As soon as I get it into shape and I walk out of the house, I want a closed, baked deal, and I don't want to touch it again. You guys have heard me say that, right? Tyson's heard it, Isaac's heard it. What it is when I go there, I take and I get that deal set, I get their false beliefs broken, I condition it. I think of it like tempering steel, and I smack that steel into shape. Then I cool it off. I don't want to touch it anymore because I want that thing to stay in shape, because somebody's going to come along and it's like, oh, you shouldn't buy this. Oh, I got all these whispering things around here trying to take into to destabilize or ruin our deal. And I try not to touch my deals ever again. So here's where it comes from. So think about it. This is how every one of your brains have worked. You've had some sort of experience in life. Actually, as you think about, you guys have had this. When you get married, your wives are going to have this. Something's going to happen to them. Then they're going to have an experience. So they touch the stove. They have this experience. Stoves are going to burn me, right? Then they come over here. What it does is it tempers it inside your mind. It forges it into a false belief. So now you think all stoves are hot. So now you got this false belief. So then it's our job to come in here and help them get a new story. It's like, hey man, like the stove's not actually hot. Just the one you touched was. Look at this one's stone cold. Look, I'm laying on it. Put my hands on it, I'm giving it a bear hug, right? See? No burns. I give them a new story. What I do is I actually try to tell them a story to help them have an epiphany. Probably one of the favorite ones I like is like when you're doing network marketing. I heard the story is like, hey, I'm into MLM. Oh, good. You have no more friends. Nobody likes you anymore. That's a false belief. It's like, oh no, yeah, that's the way we used to do it. But what I do is I do all my business online. So people who are interested in it raise their hands, and then they join my organization. So therefore I keep all my friends and all my family. I just do it different. So I tell them a new story, then they go, oh yeah, that's how it is. So then I bridge the gap, and then it comes over here and it creates a new belief, then they can take and move forward. Somebody says, solar doesn't make sense. Okay, so you've looked at numbers before, right? They're like, yeah, so it didn't make sense. No, it didn't. God, things have changed. How about I come by and I'll show it to you? Then I show it to them, like, so here's what you'd, over a 20 year or like over a 30 year, and I start showing them the spreads. I'm like, so your solar's 37 grand, and you spent $357,000 if you stuck with your utility company. I'm like, see that? It's like 10 cents on the dollar. So I create a new story. This is how, like, I help bridge the gap. Then all of a sudden they can have this new belief. So then the question is you got to figure out how to help people get it. But then I come in and I say, so somebody's like, they start saying, yeah, solar doesn't make sense. And then I'm like, yeah, man, look at this $319 bill. I'm like, check this out. Look what changed. Now it's $679. I'm like, holy cow, we lost our coal-fired plant. I'm like, it didn't used to make sense now, but since we lost our coal-fired plants, the cost of electricity went up 96%. It's like, holy cow, solar makes so much sense now. It pencils. And they're like, oh. And then if they still didn't buy, I just go into a story. I'm just story. So then you're like trying to figure out, I'm like, yeah, you know what happened is look at this. UAMPS right here, 2021, they had $8.3 million. 2022, they went from 8 million down to negative 1.2. we got a huge rate increase. And then I'm like, check this out. What do you think is going to happen in 2023? $12.8 million in the hole. I'm like, there's a new story. I'm like, if you thought that last one was bad, wait till you see the next one. Then I weave a new story. I can break with this and I can come over here. You see what I mean?